Music channel. This picture could be a little bit better. Uh, Let me make an adjustment here. Hold the thought, everybody. Well, let's do a little adjustment here. I think it always helps when you clean your camera before you start your live stream. Welcome to the Upstairs to the Right Music channel. I'm Mike McWilliams, your host for this evening's discussion. On the Upstairs to the Right Music channel, we talk about guitar, music history, gear of not just guitars, of all sorts actually. And we welcome you being here tonight. Scott is our moderator along with Maddie Two Hats. I want to welcome Scott being here. Maddie will probably show up later. So cheers to both you guys up front. I want to say I thank you so much for doing the hard work of keeping the trolls away so I can concentrate. Because believe me, at my age, it doesn't get easier. Mr. Allmark in the house. Good evening. Doing well this evening. Run Riot. Hey, how you doing? Pretty tired, so don't know how long I'll stay, but hope you're doing well. Hey, I appreciate you even showing up, sir. We are doing well. Um, while we wait for more people to show up here in the live stream, I will talk about first my usual preamble by saying thank you so much for spending a little bit of your time with me. Time is a valuable thing, I know, and it's really, really greatly appreciated that you would give me a little bit of yours. It's all I ask in return. If you sit down, even lay down in some people's cases, and listen in. I've been told by people that I have a radio voice, or what they used to say, you have a face for radio. So maybe my voice will soothe some of you. Some of you guys will wake you up. But either way, I want to thank you each and all for being here every time. By the way. All right. So what's going on? Well, I got my shipment in. Mr. Watson in the house. Hey, happy birthday and celebration to you. I remember you were saying you were on your way up there. I'm glad you made it back and enjoyed yourself. I really envy the fact that you did the trout fishing. That's something that me and Jock used to do. Trout, catfish. We used to do that with his father. Anyway, sounds like a good time. Sounds good, but it's good to have you back too. I have the radio face. Yeah, apparently me too. You know, guys, thank you so much for always being here. I'm working, I feel like I said that I need to start increasing the amount of clips that I do for YouTube. And as I've said before, I really, 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 really don't want to do that because it's a plus minus gain kind of situation. But I said if I do start doing it, and maybe that will help with the channel as well, boost the viewers. And honestly speaking, have to say that a good concept I thought would be talking about songs that just short 1 minute clips where the song that was the original was actually outdone by the remake of it. And I was researching some songs today that would possibly do that. Not just not just in rock and blues and rock, by the way, as you guys know, but also in R&B and soul as well. I admit I got off into my rock thing years ago, but I am slowly as I getting into my senior years, I'm coming up here, started to appreciate the R&B music that I listened to a great deal when I was growing up. And there's a song called "Just the Lonely Talking Again" that was originally recorded by a group called the Manhattans in around 1985. And that album did well. But in 1987, Whitney Houston re recorded that song with Narada Michael Walden as the producer. I always liked Narada Michael Walden as a producer. He did most of that second Whitney Houston album. You guys know the song. Are you really ready for love, girl? Or is it just the lonely talking again? That song. You guys know that one. Really popular for Whitney. It was kind of popular for the Manhattans, but Whitney, it just really shot off. So I was looking at that. Of course, I was looking at some Zeppelin things versus some Muddy Waters things as well. So I'm kind of thinking about going down that path. I'd like to hear what you guys think about that as a thought. At least that way it keeps it entertaining for me. If I'm going to do those clips, I just don't want to cut up the stuff that I do anyway. I want to do something original for that. Of course, that's an extra pain in the ass, but I figure if I knock out 2 a week, that should satisfy YouTube enough. So we'll see. That's my thought for my clips. What else? Yeah, so I got my shipment in, and very pleased with everything. I got 4 Grecos in this time, and hey, how you doing yourself, buddy? Welcome. Typo negative summer breeze is such a tribute to the original, yet way better. Yeah, there's another example. I agree with that. As a matter of fact, if you guys can think of those down in the comments section of this particular live stream, hit me up with those so I can look into those and I can use those. I would see that's very helpful. That's a great point. That's a good one. You a singer? I am a producer. I'm an arranger, a composer, professional, a professional singer as well. You know, when the money's right. Yes, welcome to the channel. Well, guys, we have been, as I said, straying from the path a little bit and going down some of the rabbit holes that sometimes I like to go down on this channel, just for the heck of it. Damn, I'm talking to a producer. Yeah, well, you know, if that means anything anymore. I was listening to this one producer. He was saying that he doesn't put a compressor on his on anything. He doesn't use and he won't allow the mastering engineer to use compression either. And he says he uses a decider and a limiter for his dynamics, but I'm going to play around with that. But I just don't know. You know, I always have compression on my drums of some sort. There's this unit called Bark of the Dog. Bark of the Dog. It's a VST plugin, and I've used that on my drums for years. And it's just basically a fancy drum compressor, but boy, you know, it makes a difference. I don't know how I would do without that. And you know, in any case, but yeah, I'm a producer and an engineer. In any case, guys, I enjoyed those discussions that we had, but I think we need to get back into guitars again. I think that maybe we need to get back into the heart and soul of the matter. And I got some here that I want to talk about tonight. I don't speak English much, but if I make some grammatical mistake, you don't hate me because I'm from Korea and we don't speak English here. Yes. Yes, I understand. I thank you, Kansamida. Thank you so much for showing up to the channel tonight. I used to live in Japan myself, so I spent many summers, hot summers, cold winters in Seoul, Korea. Many times. So been there a lot. Happy to have you here. You're always welcome. Everybody around the world is welcome here on this channel. We're going to talk about guitars tonight, guys. So I get asked by a lot of people, thank you so much. God bless you. Kansamida. It is definitely a pleasure to show you some of these instruments tonight and talk about their cost, because I get a lot of questions about how much do these things cost. And I kind of want to go through that tonight. with you guys. I usually try to preview the stuff that comes in on my live streams before I do a unboxing video. I hadn't planned on doing an unboxing video, but there is going to be one. I'll talk about that at the end of the show tonight, why that is and when that is. But for this show, two of them went very quickly. So you'll have to see the two that I don't have tonight on the unboxing video when it comes out. But I'd like to talk about the three examples I have right now and just really talk about why I still think that the Grecos, the Tokais, and the other made in Japan guitars are really, even though they're creeping up there, and I'm certainly contributing to that, I admit, in my own way, but they are really something that is worth looking at for a professional. As a professional musician, I would certainly play any one of these instruments that I'm going to show you tonight. I would gig them no problems. And again, they all have what I call that professional instrument gravitas to them as well. And you're not going to break the bank on them. They're all can be had around $1,000 plus or minus. Let's see. Deconstructor, okay, your scarf looks. I didn't know that you were such a fashion police. Wee, the fashion police are here, everybody. I'm not even cold. Yeah, well, it's a little chilly here in Amsterdam tonight, and quite frankly, I'm old. You're probably a lot younger than me, so we feel things a little bit differently as we get older. But anyway, you're welcome, man. Just didn't know the fashion police were here. Old joke. Let's talk about this guitar first. This, guys, is a Greco. As you can see, it is the legendary Greco Super Sounds. And here, let me get my screen here so I can see. Yeah, we're in frame. And here it is. And there's the back. It's got some buckle rash there on the back, as you can see. But essentially, and wow, that neck has really aged. This is a 1977, so this is a 48-year-old guitar. This thing has really just aged out well, but it's no issues here, no dents, no dings, nothing really major with it, and works great. Everything plays fine. I mean, didn't even have to open it up, to be honest with you. Now, I want to talk about the necks on these because I got two of them in at the same time that I can talk about and show you guys, where we can talk about why there's price differences on these guitars. I'm from Russia. Welcome to you from Russia. It was 43 in the mountains. Yeah. It's all over. I miss that cold mountain air too, by the way, Michael. I really envy your trip. Ben is my name. Which Fenders are from the bad years? Well, with Fenders, really, it's not so much that there was bad years, but there was a year where they were not in production, and the only Fenders that were being made were the Japanese-made ones. That was 1984, 1985. Speaking of Fenders, this guitar is a Greco that was made by Fujian. If you remember, I was talking about Grecos in one of my regular content videos, and I pointed out the fact that before, the Fujian made ones would have just stamped made in Japan and nothing here on the top. If it was made at Matsumoku, it would say Matsumoku here and made in Japan. Later on with the Fujian guitars, when they fully took over producing these from Matsumoku around 1977, around the year this guitar came out, they started stamping the serial numbers on the back of the neck. So that's another thing that I pointed out before. I can now show you guys a real example of that. But getting back to this neck, I want you to look at that neck. That is a one-piece neck. It's a one-piece neck. Okay. So this is an SE700. And one of the things about the 700s are the fact that, as opposed to something like this 1974 SE550, which you can see again 74, so just made in Japan, no serial number. Just a note, guys, but you can see that this is a multi-piece neck. This is actually a 5-piece neck. One, two, three, 4, and then 5 with the wing that they glue on there. You can see the separation point there, the witness line between those two. And again, so this is a 550 multi-piece neck. $700 one-piece neck. So that price difference of Ichiman Gosen yen, because the number represents the price in yen. So that 150 yen difference gets you a one-piece neck on these. Those anything at this era above a 600 is going to give you a one-piece neck. There are six there, and by the way, and that's not even getting into talking about the bodies. The bodies on the 700s can be 3-piece bodies. I've taken a look at this and I've come to conclusions a 2-piece body on it. But there's been 600s with 1-piece necks and 1-piece bodies as well, which are really, really designed for the 700s and the 800s in this series. So this leads to the first point about how much are these things, how much you pay for these things. Really, you really have to delve into the history of these and understand, first of all, why they have the numerical value that they're assigned and what that means in terms of specs. That's the first thing. Mike, do you worry that showcasing Greco's value may lead to price increases due to gaining popularity? Could they be the next clone? Well, no. I think that I jokingly, tongue-in-cheek, said I contributed to it because I'm bringing them into Europe, and probably, one of the bigger guys bringing them in, the small as I am. But what I'm seeing actually is that people are recognizing the quality of them for the money that they're paying. So it's not really the equivalent to Klon. What it is, it's giving professionals a chance to have a professionally made instrument, secondhand, but still one, like I said, that you could gig with. You can gig with this. This neck, by the way, made by Fujigen, is the same neck. I just really love how that's just aged over time. It's just really ambered. But this neck is the same neck that Fujigen later on started using when they took over for Fender and took the contract in from Fender and started producing these in Japan. These necks are really well sought after. And that's one of the things that makes these guitars popular among guitarists who know is that these 700 necks, the 800 necks, and of course the made in Japan necks, the early ones, especially JV series, that this is a precursor to. This guitar, weight-wise, by the way, this is a very lightweight guitar compared to the 550. This is actually a great weight. This is about 7.5, I think, pounds. It's about 7.5, 7.5. So it's a very comfortable weight. But again, all the specs on this guitar really are, this guitar I'm holding in my hands is no different than the Tokais and the Fender Japan guitars that I've had. It has that same feel to it. And yet it can be had at a good price. These will fetch you under $1,000, well under $1,000. Condition is an issue. There's a scratch here. You can see. Am I pointing it out? Yeah, scratch right there. Now, there's a couple of things I can do about that. And I want to talk to you guys. Actually, I'm looking for your opinion on this one. I can do a spot color fill and then level it and then sand and polish and get rid of that. Or do you think that that is actually something that I shouldn't worry about, and it actually adds to the patina of the guitar? Um, what do you guys think? Both necks look like sissies necks to me anyways, no skunk stripes. Yeah, yeah. So definitely, what you got is your truss rod. As a matter of fact, when I did the setup on this guitar, what you have to do is set these up. Is you've got to put your capo up here, then you got to put a second cable right here at the 12th fret, and then you have to take the bolts out of the neck, pop the neck out, make your adjustment, pop it back in, and it is a pain in the butt. Um, and yeah, it's the same with this one. Later on, of course, by 78, 79, and with the Tokais, they started putting the truss rod up top. But yeah, that was a challenge to get this thing set up. But it's beautiful now. I've got it intonated. It's beautiful. And of course, the pickups are the same as the 74. They are the XL pickups, that I love so much. I've never heard a bad set of those, to be honest with you. Scratches give it character. Thank you, Wilbur. In the used market, when you're selling to dealers, Joe Bonamassa joking, well, not joking, truthfully, halfway truthfully says, well, actually, mostly truthfully says that every scratch on those high-end vintage models that he deals in costs him about $1,000. I will say for a fact, not tongue-in-cheek, that every scratch in one of these instruments that I'm selling wholesale to clients, every scratch will cost me $100. So sometimes it's worth it for me to just go ahead and do work like that. That'll take me. I could have that done on Sunday. If I sat down Sunday morning and started working on it, I could have it done by Sunday evening. Um, so I'm considering doing that. So there's that. I'm lazy. I drop my guitars off to get them set up. That's all right, because I get a lot of guitars in. I can't, if I took it down to Fern and he's busy, my luthier, it just wouldn't get done. So I've just learned to do all the setups on myself. And it's not, once you got it, and once you understand it, and basically you can feel it out. I can do them by feel now. Interesting. I know, and of course. A few other things. But yeah, having the tools helps as well. Floyd Rose tremolos. Yeah, that would suck. I wouldn't. Floyd Rose. God, those things are terrible. I'm personally be fine with leaving it. Yeah, it's something I'm considering. Now, consider this is a 48-year-old guitar, so it's amazing that it's made in this condition. No dents in the neck, which is the main thing. Just that scratch right there. I'll consider it. I buffed it already. I took out most. It was pretty scratched up, guys. That shiny shine there now is because I've already buffed it, and that's the one that stood out. But I can do the work. I'm considering it. If the customer wants it done, fine, okay by me. I just think for myself, if you can touch it up. What else did you hide? Yeah, that's true. In this case, it's not really a hiding thing. This would actually really be fixing that. So it's going to require me putting super glue in there. Actually, I'm going to have to match the color, then drop fill the glue, and then do the razor blade scrape it down so it's level, and then start with 1200 grit, 1500 grit, 2000 grit, 2500 wet sand, and then buff and polish. So not exactly hiding, it's actually repairing it and fixing it, but boy, oh boy, is it a pain. It's a lot of work. There's a process to it, but boy. How do you find your passion, sir? Because I'm doing whatever come in my path, and I'm phased that I don't know my passion because some crisis in my family circuit, actually, I'm very confused. Well, there's an old saying from an old movie called Harold and Kumar, where a guy says the universe tends to unfold as it should. Meaning, and I found this to be true, that you're going to stumble into the right thing it's not a question of the right thing coming along. It's a question of, will you recognize it when you see it? And how do you recognize it when you see it? You recognize it when you see it by trying to surround yourself in a positive environment with as many positive people as possible. If you're around family members or friends or people like that who are dragging you down, then that's not a good thing. If it's a matter of illness or death in the family, then sometimes you need to surround yourself in places that are full of life to counterbalance that. So my advice to you is just hang in there, uh, keep a positive view on things, and positive things will come. Haha. Love dropping philosophy from Harold and Kumar. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm sorry. Whoever wrote that line, the universe tends to unfold as it should. And that's true. That's I have found that to be absolutely true, without any question. All right. Um, Next one, guys, is something I haven't had in a while, is a Les Paul. So we have here a Greco Les Paul. And this is the rock spirits, often heard of but very rarely seen. What you're seeing there is let you see the back. Yeah, looking good. So let's talk about these guitars because um, this is a one-piece back, one-piece neck. The top is two-piece, but what it is, it's got a one-piece maple cap underneath, and this is that very thin maple veneer with flame, what they call, I guess this would be AAA flamed. As you can see, it has your standard truss rod, 2-point truss rod cover on it that you would find on the Gibson, and of course the legendary lawsuit, quote unquote, headstock. Even came with its original pick guard. Usually these come without the pick guard. I got this from a collector. I bought both the standard. This is the standard. I also bought from him his custom. He had a customs too. 1992, both of them. 1992 Grecos. Around the end of the year before they went over. Oh, I'm gonna get to that run riot. Right before they moved over to Korea. Now, one interesting thing that they add to this is not a bolt-on neck. This is a new, on fenders when they did that adjustment thing at the back for the truss rod. So you had truss rod adjustment here and here. Didn't exactly go over popular. Wasn't the most popular thing. So this is not a bolt-on neck. This is a set neck guitar, as you can see, but it's got that adjustment there in the back. These were for domestic Japan only, and these don't make it out of Japan. And But one of the things about these guitars is, in terms of their build quality, they are on equal build quality that you would find with the elites that were coming out from Epiphone during that time. Um, Built in the same factory, built in the same way. This is a substantial guitar. This is about 8.5 pounds, and this is a serious instrument. You don't find them, with a one-piece back. You have to go to Gibson to get a one-piece back on these. And it's a beautiful piece too, as you can see from the flames. And these are domestic only. You will not see these outside. The rock spirits, just like the Tokai Love Rocks, these higher quality Les Pauls. And this also came at different price points as well. There are cheaper versions of this. This would be around the equivalent of like EG 800, for example. So around, it was priced around that price range. And just really long neck tenon. Pickups are really, really, really nice. I do believe these are what would be in here? These would be the U2000s, I believe. Yeah, in here, the pickups. Really nice, beautiful guitar, great condition, and yeah, very. I've never seen it before either. It's quite unique. It's their version of the Tune-O-Matic. It's just another way, I guess, a second way of adjusting the. I didn't need to do it. It was intonated perfectly. The shop that I got this one I bought from a shop, a secondhand shop in Japan. They set it up lovely, so I didn't have to do anything to it at all. But as you can see, I just want you guys to see why, so that I haven't had an elitist in yet. But this is the same build quality that you would find on an Epiphone elitist, with the exception of some of the higher end elitists will have the three, the two truss rods. Some of them would be like this with a single truss rod. Um, these are very, very, very rare. You will not see one of these very, very often. And the fact that I was able to get both the custom, it was a Black Beauty custom. You guys will see it in the video I released coming up here, the unboxing video. But it was a Black Beauty custom, gold. Better, even better condition than this one. Just not a flaw on it. Just beautiful. So there's that. So now another thing too, I'll point out in my notes for you guys interested in buying these. Note the Greco is with the correct R. And then with this earlier version, note that Greco with the funky N, not an R. And always keep that in mind, because frankly speaking, the Grecos with the correct R are going to have a little bit more value to them than the Grecos that do not. So it's not always true, but in the case of these guitars, that can also be a way of discerning cost. If you see it with the correct looking R, a recognizable R, then those are going to cost a little bit more, because these are the models that came out when Greco really started hitting their stride, like the 77, and just started producing such excellent guitars that Fender, all the way in California, took notice to it and flew over and said, hey, we want you guys working with us. So that's the reason why. So that's another thing to kind of look for when you're trying to determine the price on these things. Now, Matsumoku built guitars have a great reputation, but understand that there are no Matsumoku built guitars after 1987. And they stopped producing these Strat-like guitars. Really, honestly, from what I've seen, from my experience, around 1977, they stopped making these when Fujigen completely took over production of them, and then, of course, later on took on production of the Fender Japans. So keep that in mind as well. Those are factors. Scott says, were the Epiphone Elites made in the Fujigen factory? Yes. So these were made in the same factory. Well, again, like I told you, there's Fujigen, Chugaki, and Dynagaki. But in the case of the Elites, the lead factory was Fujigen. And it's the same factory that produced this guitar, with a serial number. So it's not Korean. The Koreans don't have serial numbers, and they are with the three. That's another way you tell the Korean ones. A couple of things to get away. Although some Korean ones do have that. Anyway, I won't get into that. Let's get into minutia. But yeah, so this is basically same build quality and just really nice Les Paul. I know I've forsaken Les Pauls a bit, But I have to say, guys, that this is a nice Les Paul and a professional instrument, without any question. Anybody could take that on stage anywhere in the world with any band, regardless of the band, and it would do just fine. So there's that. Where are we at? Okay. So yeah, it is a looker run riot. I agree. It's those veneers. So what they did is they put that so one piece mahogany back, one piece maple cap, and then they put those two pieces of veneer, perfectly matched book matched veneers on top, and it's just it's a thin, it's not even maybe a little slightly thicker than a pick veneer that they put over on top of that, and when it's AAA, true AAA veneers like that, it rivals Gibson's tops. Anthony, hey, how you doing, Mr. Thornhill? Welcome, welcome, welcome. You just showed up, so I'll show that to you again. We were just talking about this 92 Greco Les Paul right before they stopped producing them in Japan, and just a beautiful guitar. Just the construction of these, like I said, it's funny to me because what do you got here? Let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about that. What do you got here? Oh boy, you've got the Gibson headstock. Doesn't say Gibson on it, but okay. And by the way, unlike the modern inspired by Gibson lines, you have a single truss rod as opposed to the dual truss rod system that you would find in the Epiphones made by inspired by Gibson line. Also, by the way, you have a beautiful flame top and a one piece, mahogany back. You're not going to get those on the Gibsons that now you're paying a lot more for just to get that headstock. Again, it's the reason why I think these older made in Japan, this is from 1992, but I said 93, 92 actually, sorry. Guitars, I think are if you're going to buy that any of the new Epiphones, I would go for this one before those for a lot of reasons. Better woods, better construction. Some of them have nitro paint jobs on them. Better pickups. And if you got to have that headstock, hey, guess what? It's got that headstock on it as well. And so certainly something to think about. Well, that's funny. I was wondering why this Coke tasted so funny. I was drinking a glass of milk before, and I arbitrarily grabbed the same cup and I just poured milk and Coke together. That's why that's been tasting interesting for the last half hour. I was like, this tastes like a float. Okay, interesting. Did Greco do an SG? I think Edwards did. Yeah, Greco did SGs. Absolutely. I've had a Greco SG in. I've had two, haven't I? One or two. A black SG. So, now, as Scott was pointing out, there are, the market going up on there, but there's what people are asking for them, and then there's the reality of them. All of these guitars are around $1,000 plus or minus, let's say, $50 to $70 range. All the ones that I've shown you tonight, in terms of their price. Maybe the Greco 74 Greco 550s, maybe $100 under that, so around $850 range, but around that range that you can buy them. And so that still, in my opinion, puts them leaps and bounds above what you would be getting from Epiphone. In the case of since I bought bought a pair of them, the custom and the standard from that private seller, I was able to get both of them for the price I'll put this one out. I was able to get both of them for the price that essentially you pay for one of the inspired by Gibson lines right now. Okay, it's not including shipping and that, but still, you get the idea that this is a better bang for the bargain than anything else that you're going to find. And I just have to say, European ambulance. Sorry, guys. You just have to say to yourself, that's money that I could be buying a better amp with. That's money that I could be buying a better mic with. That's money that I could be better spent, in a number of things. So it's something that I bring up tonight because I think that having real examples here really brings it home. You can see for yourself the quality of these, 70s, 80s, and 90s made in Japan guitars. You know, guitars like these are for everybody. They're for the collector. They're for the player, and they're also but I hope not too much for the the modder. I I only buy them if they're 100%, got everything. Even though this SE700 has that scratch there, it's still 100% original, including its whammy bar in the case. But every part of that's still original. And like I said, for 1977, that's pretty impressive. That's fairly impressive. That usually also lose the back plate, but this one has everything. So that's another thing that you want to look out for, how original it is. When you start talking about scratches cost you $100, I wouldn't buy one of these unless it had the original XL pickups in it, because that's half of the game there. These pickups rival the best pickups that Fender Custom Shop is putting out right now. I liked it so much that I used this 550 for that last recording that I did, and I'm using it for the current recording that I'm working on right now. I love the sound of these XL pickups. Maybe I might try to play this one, actually, this black one. I like this black guitar. It sounds fantastic, and it still has the staggered XL pickups in it. That's another thing. Let's take a look at the pickups. I know this is minutia, but look at how the pickup pole pieces are staggered on these. Okay. The later Tokais and the later Grecos, when they changed the person who was making the pickups for them, those became flat pole pieces. The staggered pole piece XLs are the ones that you want to get. Back in 1974, when this 550, when they first came out with these would be really early XLs. As you can see, those are also staggered pole pieces, not flat. And I think that has a lot to do with the sound of these pickups as well. I really do. I'm not a tone wood guy, as you guys know, per se, but I am a big believer in the pickups. So that's another small thing you want to look for when you're looking at these guitars, the pickups. Be very careful with that. Be very careful, because somebody will sell you that, and they'll sell you, swear up and down that they're the original pickups. If you look at them and say, hey, those pole pieces aren't staggered, then you know, red flag, red flag. Always compare Japan versus local listing. Keep in mind your VAT, your shipping, and your import fees. Mike, did you ever meet Bootsy Collins? No. Kevin. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? As a bassist, I'm used to being ignored. Not here, Kevin. I'm sorry I didn't see you. Let's get to the chat here. Kevin, I've got a 92 Ibanez 5-string made in Japan. My understanding to this year is the best for quality and value for Japanese factories. Really, I would say that that is towards the end. This is a 92, as I just said. And this is the end when a lot of the manufacturing was going over to Korea and even China. The golden age for made in Japan is approximately between 1977 and 1987. And then it starts to peter off from there. And no, I wasn't ignoring you. I just had to get back to the chat. Sorry about that. Welcome to the chat, by the way. And bassists are always welcome here. Um, as you know, that's one of the instruments that I play as well. Never met Bootsy Collins. No, no, I did not. Um, I went to a show in at the O2 in London that had George Clinton and P Funk, and I think they brought out Bootsy Collins, so I've heard him play live uh, uh, at that venue with George Clinton. That was back in 2007, 2008, 2007, I'm going to say. Ben is my name. Pickups and the parts that hold the string is what makes the tone not wood. I agree, Ben. That's why I said be very careful when you look at these made in Japan guitars. If you're getting staggered pole pieces, that'll tell you that you've got XL. The XLs is where the money is. It's the sound of these guitars. They really, really took their time to reverse engineer the pickups from 50s, 60s, and 70s Strats. The Japanese did, and the sound is again they're playing catch up now. I would take a pair of these XLs over anything that Fender put out, including the Texas Specials or anything like that, without any question. Mike says, I just got a Tokai Silver Star 36. Yeah, it has some minor mods, gold hardware and tuners, as well as DeMarzo and the bridge. It's great playing guitar, but I've not been able to put it down. It's a 1983 model. Yeah, if the guitar has good bones, then you're okay. Yeah, you could go through the process of getting those original pickups in, but if you're happy with the way it is, that's fine. But don't buy it at the price. The concern is buying it at a price that an all original one would go for. You can discount that. I would discount $50 for everything that was missing on these guitars. It seems that the Japanese handcrafted materials are infused with Zen. Yeah, again, these are handmade. 77, this is a handmade guitar. And this neck, this is that Fender Japan neck. I know so well. And this is a good example of one. It's aged very well, really ambered up very nicely in almost 50 years now. And it's lightened up because all the water, all the moisture is out of this. So, it really... It has a nice ring to it. I really do think that age on wood is one of the things that does contribute a little bit to the tone, especially acoustically, because when they're 50 years old like this, they really have a ring to them. Or maybe it just had a ring all along and it just got better. But that's one of the things I like about old guitars, is that wood settles. What are your thoughts on Rickenbacker? I have had quite a few Rickenbacker basses through. I had a 1978 RB, what was that, the RB 450, something like that, in 700 in, and I had to do a complete refinish on that thing. And I'll never buy another Rickenbacker bass again. This was a copy of the Rickenbacker. I want to say 4008, but those Rickenbacker numbers get a little confusing. But in any case, great basses, by the way. I enjoy playing them. But I'm a Fender jazz bass player. I always have been, always will be. I'm a jazz bass player. All my bass heroes played Fender jazz bass, so that's why, to be honest. I met Michael Hampton. I told him I collect guitars, and I almost was able to buy an old Gibson from him, but was beaten to the punch. Oh wow, that would have been sweet. I'll find our Mech Alphine. Ben Mech Alphine. Okay, that's a separate conversation. Kid Funkadelic, most underrated guitar hero. Yep, sure. All good. Okay. So, really, guys, it's great to have examples of these guitars in so that I can go through those small, finer points that are things that you should be looking at. Any original part that's not there, specifically the pickups, for every pickup that's not original, you should be deducting between $30 to $50, to be honest, especially with these 70s Grecos and Tokais. But to be honest with you, you can't go wrong. And I think that, again, if you go into, speaking of Zen, into the Zen mode of I'm good, then part of that is recognizing that there are more than enough secondhand guitars out there of this kind of quality to this kind of quality that could satisfy every kind of player, that could really save you money, and plus you'd have an interesting piece. It's much more cooler to pull out a Strat like this and say, hey, your friends say, oh, that's a cool Strat. What is that? Well, this is a 1977. And they're like, whoa, it's a vintage guitar. Yeah, as opposed to pulling out a vintage vibe, which, by the way, here's another example. Remember I told you that the vintage vibe, they're trying to get this amber neck color, but they always make it too yellow. This is the amber color that they're trying to get. And I want you to look at a vintage vibe and then look at this amber color and understand, and also that darkness that comes to the fretboard as well. I want you to understand what true ambering is, and why the vintage vibe, they get pretty close, but they don't quite get. And again, that old song ain't nothing like the real thing. That's kind of a cool point. And they age over time. This is even older. This is a 51-year-old guitar, 52-year-old guitar, and it hasn't ambered as much. So I guess it wasn't in smoke-filled rooms as much as this other one, but it hasn't ambered as much as that. So uh, I always find that interesting. Some of them. It also depends upon climate, sunlight. Again, smoke-filled room. Things like that. But when they amber up, they're it's so beautiful, and that's the thing that makes them kind of cool, as opposed to, again, pulling out a classic vibe. This is my 2023 classic vibe, or this is my 1977 Greco, and quite frankly, you can get the Greco for about $100, if you're lucky, $200 more than the classic vibe, and you'd have a way better guitar. Not mass produced, not CNC, not a CNC guitar, a handmade guitar. They didn't get into the CNC until the early 80s. Mike, do rockabilly suck, or is it just me? I don't think rockabilly sucks, man. I love the Stray Cats. I love Brian Seltzer and what he does, but I have to admit that's about as far as I'll go. But that's also because it was a party and I was a teenager, and I was making out with this girl named Courtney during Stray Cat Strut. That might have had something to do with it. My brother gave me his Rickenbacker when he got corporal. I would never buy one having the experience. Yeah, I think, it's the Beatle connection. It's the fact that Paul McCartney played one that really, and it has a particular tone to it as well. But it's not a player. It's not for me. Not for me. I keep saying if all major guitar manufacturers forever stopped all production, I'm willing to bet there would still be enough to go around. Yes, Ben. Absolutely. That's not willing to bet. That's a safe bet. And so some of it's not bad, Scott Mike says in defense of rockabilly. Yeah, it all depends, But like Stray Cats, that's my experience to rockabilly. That's my exposure mostly. And I think Brian Seltzer is probably one of the finest guitar players I ever heard. Frankly, he's from the Eddie Cochran school, and that's a school that I kind of dig. So there's that, guys. So yeah, classic vibe is a repro vintage or fugazi. What is it? Fugazi is how you pronounce that. If you prefer my Tokai's much nicer playing than my friends, yeah, yeah. And again, if it's got, what do I think of Yngwie Malmsteen? I'm not into riffs for the sake of riff's sake. I never did get it. And that, by the way, that school of guitar player really died out. If you went to the Guitar Institute in L.A. and you studied double stops and all those other techniques and 80s stuff and hammer-ons and stuff like that, by the 90s you wouldn't have found work. It's true. And so I never got into guys like him. I admire their skill, but there's nothing for me. Shaking all over. Scott, the trick is to have a pompadour haircut while listening. He may have a point there. Oh my gosh. Why am I still drinking the Coke and milk mix? I don't know. I must be thirsty. Oh gosh. How did I do that? All right, guys. Again, we talked about guitars tonight. We kept it positive, so I'm going to end here after 1 hour. But before I go, I want to say that I will be putting out a video on Sunday instead of a live stream. We will not be doing a live stream on Sunday night because I heard about Pepsi and milk from Laverne and Shirley. Me too. And trust me, I tried it as a kid because back then I was watching that TV show in real time, and it doesn't taste any better now. On Saturday, I've got to have this wisdom tooth taken out. I had this one taken out late last year, and they've told me I can't put it off any longer. I have to have this one taken out. So I don't think I'm going to be in the mood or ability to hold a conversation on Sunday night. As a matter of fact, I fear getting dry socket so much that I'm probably much going to be like this for 48 hours. So you won't be getting a live stream coming up this Sunday night. But on Sunday, what I will do is in the afternoon, I will put out the video for the unboxing of not just these two guitars, but the two that you didn't see. You guys didn't see the Greco Spacey Spirits Telecaster, the finest Telecaster. By the way, that Telecaster was that's one of the best Telecasters I've had. It's from 1978. But you can see the unboxing of that. So the next live stream will be a week from today. Tooth pull, yeah, I gotta go in. It's gotten so bad that it's actually cracked now. And so not a good thing. And I don't, this was the first time I ever in my life had a tooth pulled. I've always had great teeth, nice chompers, as they say. But that was my first experience getting a tooth pulled. The dry rot thing was what I was worried about, but I didn't really get it, and it actually was okay. I'm not looking forward to this on Saturday, but it's, as the Japanese say, it's shogunai. I got to have it done. I can't put it off because it's starting to crack, actually, is what it is. I did that to myself. I don't know why I have to bite down on the Tootsie Roll. I get to the third lick and, then I just have to bite. Unfortunately, that was not a good idea. So they've got to pull that one out. Ever hear of the Paladins? Yeah, actually, I have. I sub, love gear talk. We get a little esoteric, a little crazy here as well. I strayed away from that tonight because I didn't want to go down any rabbit holes, but we'll get into that when I get myself in some kind of condition. And just have positive thoughts for me, gentlemen, as I have that done. Takes about 3 minutes. They numb you up, sit you down in a chair, open up your mouth, and they yank it out. Hopefully, it'll go that smoothly this time. Run Right says, "Oh yeah, it was pretty rough having mine taken out, but I was lucky to have them taken out early." Is it a wisdom tooth? Yes, it is a wisdom tooth. It's this one wisdom tooth here in the back. And thank you to Kevin for signing up and joining us here. You are more than welcome here, always, always. Every Sunday night, 11 p.m. Central European Time, and every Wednesday night, like tonight, Central European Time, I'm broadcasting out of Amsterdam. We do this. You got this. Yeah, it's just at 58 years old, there's just some, shit you don't want to do. And this, my friends, is high up on that list, considering the fact that I've never had any kind of dental problems, not a cavity, not a problem at all. Seems like in the last 5 years since I've moved here, I've had these issues, having to have teeth extracted. But in any case, so look out for that video, the unboxing video for Greco's coming up this Sunday instead of a live stream. And then we'll catch up again a week from tonight, guys. I got one of mine taken out, just numbing. It was a breeze. Yeah, it's usually a breeze. You just got to be careful not to, lose that blood plug. Good things come to those who wait. Thanks, Cats. And by the way, welcome, Cats. Good to see you. All right, folks. A good evening to you all. And I'm so glad that you guys came here. It is always a blessing indeed to have such a wonderful, wonderful crew behind me. I will. I'll take your encouragements to heart, guys. And thank you so much. I'll have, while I'm percolating with my tooth pain, I'm sure I'll write some interesting script for the live stream when we do get to it. So look forward to that, guys. And God bless each and every one of you. And take care until then. Bye-bye.